Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G Miners here. Today we have another crazy Solar 3.0 build, but this time for Titans. This is going to revolve around the exotic gauntlets Worm God Caress. In this build, we are going to depend on our throwing hammer to one-shot almost everything that exists, and then each kill we get will fully heal us and provide us with multiple healing over time sources. This build is way better than before, but before I get into that, I did want to mention that I have been streaming a bunch over on my Twitch. You can check me out over at twitch.tv/gminers or just click the link in my description. I'd love for you guys to stop by, say what's up, and just hang out a while we play some Destiny. Okay, so obviously we are going to be on the new Solar 3.0 subclass, and for my super, I like running Hammer of Soul. Overall, this is just better in my opinion. For abilities, we are going to be on Towering Barricade just because we didn't get anything new for Titans. For our melee, we are running the Throwing Hammer, which as I mentioned is a must-have for this build to work. New to the hammer, each time we pick it up after a successful hit, not a kill but just a hit, we will get Cure, which is just a burst of quick health. This is completely broken and brand new to this build compared to previous seasons. And then lastly, we have Thermite Grenades. Almost any grenade should work for this build, but I think Thermites work the best. For our two aspects, first we have Roaring Flames. Each time we get an ability or ignition kill, we will get one stack of Roaring Flames. Each stack is 20% increased ability damage up to a max of 3 stacks. This was nerfed from 30% each stack, but it still feels great. And then we also are running Soul Invictus, which is going to allow us to create sunspots. We're going to be generating these on literally every single kill we get, which means we are constantly getting ability regen, getting healed through restoration that these provide, and because these sunspots deal scorch damage, we are going to be ad clearing like crazy despite only throwing a single hammer. We are going to have access to 4 fragments. First up, we have Ember of Ashes. This will allow our sunspots to apply more stacks of Scorch to enemies, which means more damage, and eventually we will get quicker ignitions on tankier enemies. Second is Ember of Solace. Every time we become Radiant or gain Restoration, we are going to have it for an increased duration. For us, this is mainly going to mean longer healing windows. Next up is Ember of Benevolence. This is very similar to Benevolent Dawn that Warlocks used to get. Each time we apply Restoration, Cure, or Radiant to teammates, we are going to get crazy ability regen for a short period of time. Now, to my knowledge, Cure is only going to apply to ourselves, and I'm not sure if Restoration will be gained by teammates in our sunspots, so for our last fragment, we have Ember of Torches. Every melee kill we get will make ourselves and allies radiant. This way, we are always proccing Ember of Benevolence for that crispy ability regen, and as an added bonus, we will have higher weapon damage if we ever decide to shoot our guns. Now, the mods we are going to be running are going to take this build to the next level. We're going to increase both our healing and our damage reduction. First off, we are running Melee Wellmaker. This will spawn elemental wells when getting melee kills that match our subclass. And because we are on Solar, we can utilize our second mod, which is Well of Life, to gain healing over time each time we pick up one of these Solar wells. To add some diversity, I also threw on Explosive Wellmaker. This will allow ignitions and grenades to spawn elemental wells in case we just happen to not be in melee range. And then on top of this, we will also be using the mod Wrath of Rasputin. Now, our grenades will also be capable of creating Warmind cells as they deal solar splash damage as well. The reason we want these Warmind cells to spawn is so that we can gain damage reduction through our final mod, which is Warmind's Protection. With this, enemies near Warmind cells will deal 50% less damage to us, and since we are on a melee build, this should be all enemies that we are near. Overall, these mods are aimed to help keep us alive and in a good enough shape to play aggressive. Now finally, for Worm God Caress, these are going to be the source of our damage. Each melee kill we get will add a stack of damage to our melees. This caps at 5 stacks, and each stack is over 100% increased damage. The stack values are on screen now, and when combining this with the 60% from Roaring Flames at a max value, our melee is dealing 12 times the original value of the hammer. Now, the throwing hammer itself no longer works with a 1-2 punch shotty to my knowledge. I believe that was changed last season, and then we also are not able to use stasis as the melee bonus from frozen enemies was also removed. In some of this gameplay, I was using a 1-2 punch shotty because it still does work with a base melee, which will still have a 7.5x multiplier at 5 stacks. And also because I forgot they nerfed it with the throwing hammer and I'm dumb. Overall, this build should allow you to tank most content and 1 or 2 shot most enemies. It worked against champions decently well despite me not stunning some of them and not having some additional bonuses. I think these sunspots and overall ignitions and then ad clear in general are my favorite part about this build, and the added healing and cure from the hammer are just too good not to use. I hope you guys enjoy this build. This is all for the video. Make sure to let me know your thoughts and if you have any questions in the comments below. As always, have a good one, guys. Peace.